So my name, for those of you that I haven't met in person yet, maybe it's the first time you're seeing my face here. My name's Anthony David Adams. I've been working in some capacity as an activist, political consultant, and a marketing expert for the last 15 or so years. I've done a lot of work with organizations like the United Nations. I've done work with companies like Google, helped out with several presidential campaigns, and have consulted for a number of candidates around the country on a variety of different aspects of their campaign. Also worked with a number of nonprofit organizations on driving engagement around cause-based campaigns, and I'm kind of known as one of the top folks in the country on that. For those of you that are on the call right now, the reason you're here is because for some reason we've identified you as one of the top campaigns or someone that we are really interested in. And my deep mission here in life is really to help spread great ideas. And I think that the idea of democracy is one that's very beautiful. And I'm very interested in getting the public engaged in the democratic process. Whether that was running a 120,000 member student organizing nonprofit in the Midwest and getting the highest voter turnout in the country, to lending my expertise on different things like the UN's Millennium Goals campaign and otherwise is driving engagement. So just really glad and grateful that y'all are here, really excited about the work that you're doing, and I'm excited to share some of my knowledge and some of the best practices that we've got here, and also to kind of listen and get some feedback from you folks in terms of what is working or what's not working with your campaigns, and answer any questions that I can answer around that. The things that you're going to get out of this, I think it's important to kind of understand like what we're going to get over the next half hour to 45 minutes of this this hangout and this master training, is you're really going to walk away with a deep understanding of the best practices for leveraging word of mouth in your campaigns. You're going to understand why word of mouth is so impactful. You're going to understand the distinction between the different types of word of mouth, when they're appropriate to use, and the most effective ways to drive those types of word of mouth. You're also going to walk away with an understanding of how you can better leverage your existing assets to increase things like engagement and to increase donations from the folks that you've got within your list or within your supporter base. So stoked and excited about that. You might be asking yourself, why is it important to understand word of mouth? I mean, there's so many different pieces of a campaign, from putting together the online technical stuff to doing doing events with the press, to door knocking, to the whole variety of things that go into building a campaign. And why is it that word of mouth, what does that mean, and what really is the reason you would want to understand that as a campaign manager or as a candidate? Well, there's a few basic reasons that we focus on, and what word of mouth really can do for a candidate and for a campaign. And if you master word of mouth, you'll find that you have a much easier time recruiting people. You have a much easier time getting the donations you need. You have a much easier time getting them to turn out for things like to volunteer. And overall, the experience that you have, even though every campaign is always has its challenges, you'll find that you're just often it's a much more effortless process, and you have a much better way to kind of connect with these people, and you're really more able to kind of just have an effortlessly run campaign. If you don't master this stuff, you end up just feeling a lot more frustration, spending a lot more money than you need to. The votes don't kind of get in as they might want, and overall the experience is just a bit more frustrating. And I've seen candidates that really master this stuff and work really well, whether you're a fan of Obama or not, and that's for both Democrats and Republicans. And independents, I've worked with Democrats that weren't always such a huge fan. But what we did learn from working with the Obama campaign is that this word of mouth piece was just off the charts. So whether or not you like the politics or not, you can't argue the fact that the guy, President Obama, ran the most effective campaign probably in the history of U.S. politics, and word of mouth was a huge kind of driving piece of that. So what do we mean by word of mouth? Well, when we talk about word of mouth, what we're really talking about, in my lensing, is word of mouth is the exponent. So you've got your messaging, and you've got your public relations work, and you've got all the stuff that kind of make up a campaign. And when you've got the word of mouth piece dialed in, it's like adding a little exponent, to the equation, where you've got all this stuff in place, and you can just have this exponential multiplication effect where you take one individual person as a candidate or an organizer or a manager, and you're just multiplying your efforts exponentially into the field. And what we're really talking about is organic conversations being started by constituents and by the folks that are most vested in the campaign. When we talk about word of mouth, we're actually talking about two key distinctions. There's two different types of word of mouth, and this is what most people get completely wrong. This is something that most campaign managers, quite frankly, most marketers of the Fortune 500 companies that I've also worked with and consulted with, they just get this wrong time and time again. And so we talk about the two big O's in word of mouth, right? So the first O that is important to understand is what we call online word of mouth. This is kind of become this is like the buzz. This is, everybody's talking about how do we drive online word of mouth, online engagement, and that's, online word of mouth involves things like, getting people to like your Facebook page and share things on Facebook, getting people to tweet and retweet stuff you're doing on social media, setting up your blog and getting people to comment and share things on the blog. Now, these are all important strategies. They're all part of a campaign, and they're also only a small part of the overall strategy. While we know that word of mouth in general, as a general concept, it's the largest driver in consumer voter behavior, there's no greater variable. It's also the most misunderstood. And in terms of online word of mouth is only responsible for 10% of driving consumer behavior, voter behavior. So only 10% of driving voter behavior comes from online. However, this is where the vast majority of people go to when they think of how are we going to drive online, whether it's their marketing and their messaging. They're trying to make this stuff happen. They're trying to make this stuff happen online. So if online is only 10% of the game, well then, what is the other 90%? Well, the other 90% is what we call offline word of mouth, right? It's kind of simple. You have online, which is 10%, and you have offline, which is responsible for 90% of voter behavior. So the challenge is, well, how, online is somewhat easy. Okay, I can have this measurable thing. I can look at Facebook likes. I can look at blogs and comments. I can look at tweets and retweets. But how do I actually, measure things and make things happen offline? Now, I'm totally a fan of online stuff. I think it's important that campaigns kind of get that stuff dialed in. I'm the guy that was named top 25 bloggers in the world by Time Magazine out of 300 million blogs. So I know a thing or two about blogging. I've run some of the most successful, viral Facebook campaigns in history. Petitioning different things and getting laws changed, etc. So I totally get that the online stuff is important, and it's only 10% of the game. It's basically putting your name on the test, right? You get 10% for putting your name on the test, so it's not the full game. The bigger piece of the game is offline. And so with offline word of mouth, there's a few different things that folks can do to drive offline word of mouth. I think the first thing people kind of go-to strategy for many people is publicity stunts and kind of like press things. So they're doing something to get themselves in the media, to be getting covered by television, newspaper, and to kind of just do something to create buzz for themselves. It can be useful. I've also been the guy that's run some of the most successful publicity stunts in history. And so those things have been useful, and they're semi-unpredictable, and they're somewhat expensive, right? To get someone like me to do a PR stunt is like for someone's campaign or for someone's cause or market, that's like a six to seven figure investment to get a world-class publicity stunt happening. Excuse me. So maybe that's not an option for you. And I would say that it's an expensive option when it's not ultra predictable. They can be really fun. I've had a blast doing them. Voters and consumers like this kind of stuff, but ultimately there's other options. The second option is sort of what we call paid conversations. So a paid conversation, there's a couple different types of them. A paid conversation might be, when I lived in the West Village in New York City, we actually had advertising and marketing firms who you could hire, and they would pay people anywhere between $25 and $100 an hour to go out and start conversations. They would actually go out into public, and they would just start conversations with people and kind of pretend to be an average person on the street. So it was kind of covert, kind of shady, but this is what you can do. You could actually hire someone to be a paid conversation starter. Now, campaigns, we do that a bit more. We have canvassing. We have some paid canvassers. We have volunteered canvassers. And this is, this of course is most campaigns soon realize is getting those people knocking on doors, starting those conversations, and those little, even if it's only going out for an hour, that the impact that will have on a campaign is massive. Why? Well, you have an individual person who is not the candidate, so it's one of their peers who is personally endorsing and connecting with the person. So it's a super important way to connect in the door-to-door. Now, it's also semi-expensive. It's hard to get people, etc. So the thing this is the big innovation and the big thing that we found that is kind of the most impressive way to start conversations is to create what we call a conversation trigger. Now that would be something that every day is predictably starting conversations within the demographic that you want from your demographic. So it goes from being just the candidate starting conversations to all the people within your population. If you could get your top 100 or top 1,000, or if you're doing a bigger state campaign, top 10,000, or for presidential, your top 100,000 supporters, all starting conversations about you on a daily basis. Think of what that could do for your campaign. Well, it can do massive things for the campaign. So the trick, and this is what we're going to go into next, is the creation of a conversation trigger and what that actually is. What does it take for something to really spread and go viral within a community? One of my heroes here, Jonah Berger, wrote a book called Contagious, and he outlines kind of 6 things that it takes for something to kind of go viral. And so what that means is we kind of go through these 6 steps here. If you understand these principles, of course, you'll be able to bake things in. So the first piece is social currency. If you can craft a conversation trigger that has social currency to it, where there's a cool factor to it, where you're kind of on the inside circle. If you've got this, then people are going to want to be a part of it. Some campaigns that really have that kind of inner circle feel, that the people are part of something big, there's a cool factor to it. People want to be a part of it. It's a big deal. It's a big deal to kind of be cool. The other thing is, so the next piece is actually being a trigger. So where you've got a great story, you've got something that people would like to share because they're part of something that's groundbreaking, revolutionary. How are you giving them an opportunity to talk about it? Do they get an opportunity to talk about this thing on a daily basis, and how important, how critical that is? So you've got to be on the lookout for creating something in the campaign that's going to give people an excuse every single day to talk about it. Next piece is emotional. Does your story or does your message resonate emotionally with your demographic? This is good. When people share emotional stories, the memes and our culture gets transmitted through emotional stories. When people are doing canvassing on issues, we always know it's go out and talk about an issue that is personally relevant. Talk about something that's anecdotal. Talk about something that's going to really transform and move someone. And so if your campaign is providing that foundation of emotional opportunity, people that are really vested in your message and what you believe in, that's going to drive the word of mouth conversation even more than anything else that's going on. The other piece is public. Okay, if you want people to talk about your campaign, you have to have an element that is public. Probably a great example of this. Many of you are probably dialing in or tuning into this on your Macs or on your MacBooks. Well, when Steve Jobs, one of the greatest marketers of in the history of the world, when Jobs was designing the Mac, the Mac and the laptop in particular, there was a big debate around where to put the logo on the back of the screen. Was it going to be upside down, so when the user opened up the laptop, it was they could see it, or was it going to be right side up so that when other people looked at the laptop, they could see it? Of course, Jobs decided to make the logo such that other people could see it in its proper orientation. Now, it's a simple thing, but what that does is it creates this public perception that now, hey, I'm out in public, I'm using a Mac, other people are seeing that, and it reinforces that perception into them. Again, having that aspect of something about the campaign being public, and we're going to get to some case studies and examples of this in a minute, but having some aspect of that campaign be public is really crucial. Okay, so make sure you've got some aspect and some facet of the campaign that's public, that people are seeing it on a regular basis and giving them an opportunity to talk about it. The final piece is this something that's practical? And I think for anyone that's campaigning, a campaign manager or or a candidate, making sure you've got a practical message, something that people can really connect with, and at the same time giving them very practical tools that they can use to spread a message. So we're getting some questions here. Some are saying, what are some examples of conversation triggers that we've created? Well, of course, we actually, when I was running the country's largest student organizing nonprofit, it was a 120,000 member nonprofit, and a big part of our work there was to educate the public on a variety of issues and start conversations. When I was in my tenure at that organization, we had the highest voter turnout during a midterm. We had upward of 50% voter turnout in the midterm in some of our areas, and we were unseating incumbents left and right. It was really a powerful time. And while I was at that organization, I also was an inventor, and so I was thinking of ways, how could we create something to really change and invent? And for those of you that have checked out the domain of my email address, what we found out was that by putting skins on people's credit cards, yes, like the simple bank cards that people have in their wallets, that we were actually able to start between 50 and 100 conversations per credit cover. So someone's asking, what is a credit cover? Well, the credit cover is this is one of our examples of one that we did for a lot of the campaigns that we've worked on. This one is just a generic consumer design, but they're literally a skin that peels off just like this, and it sticks on top of somebody's credit card. And so, how does that help with the campaign? And again, this is just an example of a really effective conversation trigger. But I've got like a picture of one here. Let's see if I can pull one up here for you, so we can see what that looks like here. Let me see here. I want to kind of pull up a little file here. And again, please you can shoot me an email if you have any questions on this, or leave them in the chat, and we'll try to get to as many of these questions as we can as we go. Okay, so here for example, I'm going to pull up an example of the credit covers that we did for the Obama campaign. And we've been a part of both campaigns. In 2008 and 2012. Again, it's the simple sticker. It's a patented skin that goes over top of someone's credit card. And the beauty of this is that we give these to the top constituents, to the top supporters, and now every day they're going to be handing this card over to cashiers, to different people. And here's another example of a design here. And we've had all kinds of crazy press. We've been called Edgy and Inevitable New York Times, New Dawn of Our Marketing at Business Week, and PR Marketing Genius by Adweek, and we've been featured in a ton of places. But the idea here, okay, and then here's a mailing piece. So The idea is, to get people, we give these out to the best supporters. They're using these every day, so they're getting a couple things. One, they're reinforcing the campaign to themselves on a daily basis. So every time they pull out their card to buy something, 3 to 6 times a day on average, this is getting reinforced to them. So it's kind of getting that sense of reinforcement. And for whatever reason, people just ask about it. They say, oh, what is that? And then they get a chance to talk about the campaign. So for constituents that aren't ultra social, you're basically turning them into canvassers 24/7, which has been really, really gorgeous. The other thing that we find, and this is where we talked about, finding a way to, really to kind of increase the conversation with folks, and to effectively be able to drive more donations. One of the things that we found is that by actually giving people something, maybe it's a credit cover, maybe it's a bumper sticker, maybe it's a yard sign or something, maybe it's a ribbon, that we've been able to systematically increase donations. Sometimes 8 to 9 times what we would normally get if we just were to ask somebody up for a donation. So I'm going to get to that in a second. Actually, we can actually tackle that now, because that seems to make sense. So so the question is, how do we use word of mouth or something like a credit cover, conversation trigger, to drive increased donations, and why does that work? So the first piece is to understand psychologically, why word of mouth helps drive donations. Okay, and so a big part of consumer psychology is the identity of the person. Okay, so a big piece of this is when someone is out there talking about you, every conversation they have reinforces their identity as being vested in the campaign. So if you can increase the conversations that a constituent is having about your campaign, just by the science of consumer behavior, you're going to increase their probability of making a contribution. And when they give more frequently. They're more likely to give. They give more frequently, and they give more when they give. Here's a very practical example of how this works. And again, we'll use the credit cover, because we found that is the most effective way to start a conversation for a campaign. So we use these with all the campaigns that we do. There's other methods that you could come up with if you use those 6 basic triggers. Something that's social, something that's emotional, etc. But for example, what we will do is we will send people out to go canvassing. They'll go door to door, as they're normally doing. So normally doing their door to door stuff. When they connect with someone, of course they share their story, they share their message, and we're not going to get into all the messaging stuff right now. I trust that you guys have that dialed in. If not, email me. Maybe we'll do another training on how to get world-class campaign messaging. But assuming you got that stuff handled, so you're going out, you're doing your canvassing, and when you identify someone, kind of the old way that people would do this is, okay, will you vote? Will you support our campaign? And then they're hitting them up right away, for a $10 or $20 donation or something. And you're going to get some percentage of people are going to say yes, but most of them, as you all know, are going to say no. So the way we found to drastically increase that amount is we go door to door. Or it's an event or whatever. This is just one example, but say the canvassing door to door option. We're going door to door. We meet with a person who is connected, invested in the campaign. The only ask that we give them is, hey, would you put this, we have a gift for you, so we're going to give you something first. We'd like to give this to you, and we'd love for you to put this on your card. And we kind of give them an explanation. We say, yeah, people are going to ask you about this, and just kind of share with them the reasons why you're interested in the campaign. It's very simple. You're going to get 80 to 90% of people that you ask that to, if they like, people love getting something for free. You're not asking for anything else than just to put this on their card. That's it. No ask for a contribution. This is a little bit scary for some people, but if you test this out in your campaign, you'll really kind of reap the dividends of this. So, asking the person to put this thing on their card. And what happens is, over the next week or two, when those people are out in public and they're seeing it every day, so every day, oh yeah, I'm a supporter of of Smith for governor. I'm a supporter of Obama. I'm a supporter of McCain or whoever there's, whatever they're doing. That's getting reinforced to them personally every day. The second thing is every time they use that card, because it's a social trigger, it's a conversation trigger, they are going to be asked by their friends when they go out to dinner and pay for lunch, or when they give it to the sales clerk or the small business owner that they're doing business with. Oh, what is that? It's a reinforcement of their identity with the campaign. Then they're going to have conversations over the next week or two. They're going to be getting positive attention from people in the community. It's like it does all these beautiful things for them that when they're associated with your campaign, they get attention, they get to feel empowered, they get to really feel like that they are a part of something. Now, what you do is when you then follow up with them in 7 to 14 days and ask them for, you ask them for your contribution, what you're going to find, and we recommend that campaign folks split test this, so if they really want to crunch the numbers on this, what campaign managers find is that when they ask, they make their ask after they've given someone something that's an identity builder and a conversation starter, like, for example, a credit cover, they are going to drive more donations to their campaign, and they're going to actually be able to get folks to recruit their friends in a bigger way. So what we'll do is we'll say, okay, put this on your card, free gift. After a week or two, we follow up. Hey, how's, just curious, what we're raising money for this particular aspect, and kind of give them our pitch. We'll close them, say they give $100 or $200, and then what we'll often do is we'll then give them 5 or 10 additional credit covers that we say, when next time somebody asks you, if they're very passionate, what we'd love for you is get their email address and personally introduce them, to me as the candidate. So I would say just take out your iPhone and have them email this person, CC me, and just say, hey, I thought you'd like to connect with Anthony. He's running for mayor of, Erie, Pennsylvania, and would love for. And so they're just getting connected directly to my campaign office, which is, if I'm running a campaign, I'm not running for mayor right now, by the way, but the ability to connect them directly with the campaign via email. So now my campaign has that email address on file, and I say give them one of these, give them a credit cover, give them a skin, have them put it on their most used bank card. Again, this is such a simple little innovation, but what happens now is that you've got your constituents going out, and your supporters going out, recruiting other people, doing it in real time, very grassroots. All they have to do is either shoot a text or an email, and you can set up a separate phone number, and you can get a free Google Voice text number or a free email account, so you're not getting overwhelmed. But all of a sudden now, you start with 10 people, you each have them go out and commit to getting 10 other people. And then all they're doing is giving someone a credit cover, or you're giving them a free gift for the campaign, talking about the campaign, and connecting with their email address or phone number, and all of a sudden those 10 people over the course of a week is now 100. Okay, now you can follow up with all those 100 people over the course of a week, and you can do the same thing. You give them a free conversation trigger. You then hit them up for a donation. Now, in fact, they've already got the conversation trigger on their card. So now you hit them up for a donation. The ones that give the donation are obviously the most vested, so you kind of top grade. You give them a small amount of the conversation trigger, for us to be credit cover, and with that simple instruction that when someone asks you about the campaign, offer to personally introduce them to the candidate. That's such a huge touch, and I don't care if you've got 100 people, or if you need 10,000 votes, or if you need 100,000 votes, or if you're running a presidential, you need 1 million votes. You can easily set up systems to be able to deal with that kind of leveraging word of mouth in that way, in a very easy manner. So that's an example of how we would be increasing donations. Another piece is, I'll just touch on it, of course, because the credit cards are a popular thing. Someone's saying, okay, well, can I sell these for my campaign? Yes, you can certainly sell something like a credit card for your campaign. In fact, one of the things that we did, let me see here, and again, I'm primarily interested in spreading democracy. You'll see that we've worked with Obama for his last 2 elections. To be quite honest, his opposition didn't choose to use credit covers in those elections. They were new at the time. I don't think that they saw the potential for them. So, we don't want to kind of knock them, but whatever, they didn't choose to use them. So here's an example of like a fundraising email, and again, this could be a credit cover. You might have something else, a bank card skin. You might have some other piece that you want, but right here, what we're doing is we're actually asking for a donation in exchange for getting a credit cover. So this is like an email that would go out and say, hey, we're making these here, and you can collect all four, $10 or more, and get one today for yourself or someone you know. Bam, donate BarackObama.com, get a bank card skin, etc., and then that goes through. Here's an example of them being mocked up in the Obama 2012 store. Folks could buy these here for $10 a piece, and believe me, these retail online for $10 plus $5 shipping, so people are stoked to get these as a gift. They'll also pay for them, especially if you've got a bit more, cachet or brand appeal for some of the bigger candidates, or if you got, folks will definitely buy them. We recommend that people have something to sell and also give them away. Again, here's just a close-up. People are selling these things online. Or here's an option. We want to send you a free one. Just let us know where you can send it. This applies to your, apply to your most used credit or debit card, and things might start happening. This is, again, just an example of an email copy that you could send out. It's just a very simple email to get somebody vested in the campaign. And again, they click through, and it's like, hey, pick your design. You can get one for free. So there's some. If you want to go technical, you can actually set up some technical stuff with this. Again, this is just an example of walking through through some of the opt-in stuff for that. But that's kind of how we've done it in the past and with other campaigns. The real trick with all this stuff is simply that you want to be focusing not just on the online, but also on the offline. So offline word. So to just kind of recap. So word of mouth, it's by far the biggest driver of consumer behavior, voter behavior. That's just understood. The problem is that most campaigns aren't really doing it effectively, and the ones that are focusing on it are trying to focus on online stuff. So you really want to focus on something that is offline, so that there's a predictable, easy way to be able to create conversations offline. And what we found is that the best way to do it is to create a very inexpensive, cost-effective conversation trigger. The case study we gave was an example of the credit cover, and there's some particular ways that you can not only leverage that to get to get new to get new people is a part of the campaign, but there's also a way that you can leverage that to get increased support, different folks in the demographic. Someone's asking, what was the result of, with Obama, for example, like how did that work out? Well, this is so funny that you asked that. So let me pull this up here. There's so one of the things that happened with credit cards, it's funny that you asked that. One of the things that we noticed with the credit covers where we actually gave one to the mayor of Milwaukee, to Tom Barrett. He was out campaigning with Obama, and they were out in Milwaukee at a brat shop, and this is just something up on the thing here. So there's Obama sees credit cover card and picks up the tab. I don't know if y'all can see this, but what's crazy is Obama was out campaigning with Barrett. Barrett pulls out his credit card to pay for lunch. This Obama credit cover, and Obama sees it, starts cracking up, and there actually happens to be a photographer, Damon Winter from the New York Times is there. Takes this picture of Obama laughing at Tom's credit cover, and then this made the New York Times, and this little $2 skin was responsible for millions of dollars in earned media. Here we've got some people. I don't know if this will play through, but people talk.
Love my Obama card. 4 more years going forward. Whenever we use it, we start a conversation about where we're going in the future.
Is it just
2012 beyond.
all right? So again, that's just an example of some supporters that were saying every time they're using that, they're starting conversations, and how powerful that was. People have said this was the one of the secret weapons of that campaign, which is just kind of interesting. So that was that campaign. I've got some more questions coming in here. I'm actually fielding them on the iPhone. So again, if you want to email me any questions you have, that seems to be working well for folks. You can just hit up Anthony at creditcovers.com. I'll answer any questions that you have live right now. I've got some other questions coming through. So let me see. Let's see. Okay, so here's a question. Okay, Mike from Pennsylvania says, how can my campaign get credit covers for our candidate? Yeah, I mean, assuming that you've got your word of mouth strategy in place, like, we don't usually just give them to campaigns that are, it's important you actually have a strategy, that you've got a good message, and that you really understand what's going on with folks. That said, when we're advising people, there's a reason that we have a patent on these, and we have a factory set up so that we can produce these for the candidates that we work with and consult with. Mike, if you're interested in getting them, what I can say to you is a couple things. One is, if you just shoot me an email, again, anthony@creditcovers.com, and include maybe the logo that you've got for your campaign. What we'll do is we'll actually, if you're watching the live stream, we'll just or if you're watching an archived version of it, whatever, if you're watching this video, we can actually send you one out for free, if that's send you one out for free, so you can actually just get that and and put a sample on your card and test it out. If you're looking to to purchase something, if you'd like to make a little investment in this, typically candidates will get started for, say, 1,000 units. I'll put together a deal where we can do 1,000 units for they're normally $2.25 a piece. We'll do them for $1.99 a piece. So that would be $1,990. We'll also, if you're watching the live stream, I will also give you a couple $100 worth of design time, so that you don't have to worry about getting it set up with anyone, so that you can actually get people right away to, so we'll give you a couple $100 of design and setup, so you're not paying any art and setup fees, and we can give you a deal on bulk. So if you want to get 1,000 of them, it'd be under $2,000, so $1,990. And if you'd like a smaller kind of starter pack, we could do 100 units for $297, which could be useful for folks. So again, and we'll include free art and setup for all those. And again, for anybody that wants them, they can just email me at anthony@creditcovers.com, and we'll give them a free one. We'll do some artwork mocked up for them, etc. So let me see here. Okay, so from Connecticut, we have a question that for candidates that have extremely limited working capital and cannot afford the upfront costs, what are some no-cost alternatives? It's a really good question. I think that part of campaigning is you don't want to go broke in the process. If you're, again, you can always just tell people to go start conversations, right? The free version is you email your list of people and you say, hey, I want you to go out and start 10 conversations this week about the campaign. I don't care with who, just go start 10 conversations, right? So old schools, go talk to, I don't care who, go talk to some people. So that's one option, and you can still do the same kind of follow-up, where go talk to 10 people, get them to agree, and then actually just do a personal introduction. I'm saying, literally take out the iPhone from talking to you. It's hey, Tom, nice to meet you, I'm Anthony. I'm supporting this candidate for governor. I think that it sounds like you would really resonate with what he's up to. I'd love to introduce you to him, and you guys can. And so of course you can have a system in place to automate this. but just the experience for that user or for that potential voter is, hey, a friend of the governor or a friend of the potential future governor is email introducing me to him, saying, hey, like, here's someone that I think would be interested in the campaign. You can have your assistant or someone respond to those, and I could go deeper into that. But just that process, you don't need a credit cover for that. I mean, the only reason we suggest credit cover is because this is a passive tool. This will start 50 conversations as opposed to telling people to go out and start them. But you can easily just make the mandate, hey, go start 10 conversations, etc. You can totally do that. If you're, and again, just to make sure I hit your question, if you're interested in credit covers and you don't have any working capital up front, and you're interested in using them as a fundraiser, you can do, if you shoot me an email, we can easily set up like a landing page with one of these things designed on there, so that it's like you could shoot an email out. We can actually give you an email sequence. It's kind of pre-written. You just kind of plug in your name and say, hey, like, we're basically, I can send you the Obama sequence. You can rebrand that. You could email that to your supporters and say, hey, we'd love to get you one of these conversation starters. Can you make a donation of $10 today, and we'll give that to you. You could run that. We can set up on our servers so that donations come in through us. We give those back to you, and then we also drop ship out a credit cover directly to the person. So you actually have a little page on our site. That doesn't cost you anything. I mean, some folks want to order these in bulk so they can give them out ahead of time. But for someone that's got like no money and they want the most effective way to start a conversation and they want to fundraise a bit, you can totally do something like this. And our company in particular, we have a platform set up that we can just put you right in there, and it doesn't cost you anything. And then you can just send a link out. People can order them. They're going to get the conversation starter in their hand, and then you've got their information where you can start doing follow-up with them. So again, you can just email me anthonycreditcovers.com if you want, and we can set that up for you as another possible option. Let's see, we've got some more questions coming in here. Jillian says, Jillian in California says, if I'd like to order credit covers right now, what is the process? The process is really simple. So, I mean, you can literally go to our website under our DIY tool, upload your logo, and just order them in bulk. That's like example one. I would prefer if you just shoot me a personal email. Just email Anthony at creditcovers.com. Say, hey, saw your training on word of mouth. I'm interested in getting a conversation trigger for my campaign. We can kind of do a campaign, a word of mouth audit, see where that might fit in strategically, and then we actually will our team will just do the artwork for you and then ship them out to you within a couple of days. You can get those deployed. We also will spend some time with you to put together what we call a deployment plan, so we can figure out, okay, is this going to be used as a giveaway at rallies? Is this going to be something that we're going to be selling? Is this going to be something that we're going to do as a door knocking campaign? Is this going to be part of our digital strategy where we've got, we're doing an email and we're sending things out that way? So again, if you're interested, Jillian, you can just shoot an email to me directly, anthony@creditcovers.com. Again, the offer that we're making for folks that did this training is we'll just give you one for free that you can try and put on your card so you know what they look like. Just shoot me the email. We're also giving you $300 worth of design and setup fees waived, so that our in-house graphic design team will set everything up perfectly for you, and you can apply that towards a bulk order. And then there were two possible bulk options if you want to get ready right away. Kind of the little micro test pack is 100 credit covers with your logo and kind of customized for you for $297. The next level up would be 1,000 units, and we'll do those for $1,990. And for anyone that's running a serious campaign where you actually want to drive thousands of votes, if you're doing like a governor race or you really want to give out thousands of them, just shoot me an email and we'll set you up with bulk pricing, and just say you were on the training, for sure. So let's see what else is happening here. Okay, so Christian in Vermont says or asks, why is it that giving somebody a credit cover works to get them to increase their donation? So this isn't just a credit cover. You could give somebody a car, you could give somebody a book, you give somebody a free book, and we've done some stuff like that in the past. But there's a principle in kind of consumer psychology that it's called reciprocity. So it's when you give somebody something for free, they're much more likely to trust you. They're much more likely to feel a part of what's happening. So just the act of giving, of your campaign, first of all, giving to somebody, it sets up the right frame psychologically that there is something that you're going to actually help them and do for them, right? So it becomes something like, oh, this right from the beginning, this campaign and this candidate have added value to my life. They've given me something. They've given me a gift. So that's actually really big. And even doesn't matter how large it is. It can be a very small thing. So that's number one. In the case of something like a credit cover, it's also reinforcing their identity. People act in congruence with their identity. So if I've got someone who's had either a small ribbon or something, the credit covers are nice. Again, I keep talking about them. Yes, it's my company, but there's a reason that I was one of the top lobbyists and organizers in the country, and we started this small manufacturing company specifically to make this tool because we were patent on it, no one's making them. So I'm a little partial, but the idea being that their identity is getting reinforced every day. Every day they use it, they see it. They also are, of course, they're more likely to get out the vote because they're going to remind themselves for days and weeks and months before the election. People are asking them, so it reinforces their identity. And then when you ask for a donation, people typically act in congruence with, with their identity. So when you say, hey, so some of our supporters, our top supporters are contributing this week, our top supporters. Now, if I've been talking about you for 2 weeks, I'm already in the mindset of being that person. So there's reciprocity, there's identity reinforcement, and there's just the daily exposure factor. So I think that those, from a scientific standpoint, I think that's really what's kind of driving that from a fundamental basic level. So yeah, thanks for the question. Let's see here. Rick in Ohio says, what are some other ways you could use a conversation trigger like credit covers in a campaign? Well, we talked about a handful of them, Rick. You can sell them outright. I actually recommend that you do a giveaway because they're much more effective that way. But you could always offer them you could sell them as an option to raise some cash in and of themselves. You can do giveaways when you go door knocking. So you go hand to hand. You have a conversation with someone. You give them the credit cover. They apply it. We've had people do them with like VIP gift bags. So if you have like a dinner and you've got your VIP seated somewhere, you can put them in the VIP gift bag. We've had people do mailings. So you want to send these out, as a personal mail or as a thank you gift to people. That's an option. You can have them at rallies where you identify the top people at the rally, kind of give them to them. Really, it's in a way kind of how people have used bumper stickers and T-shirts and buttons in the past. While those things are all really fun, like things like yard signs are fun, the truth is that the T-shirt and the bumper sticker and the button, most times those things just get thrown away. So anytime you would use those, you could use a credit cover. It's just going to be much more effective because it goes on the person's card and they're carrying it with them every single day. Let me see here. Let's see. Josh says, "What can you go over that deal one more time?" Yes, the offer that we made is shoot us an email, anthonycreditcovers.com, attach your logo, tell us what your campaign's up to, and we will send you a free credit cover. We'll set it up for you and send you a free one, for sure. And if you're interested in buying them right away, we're going to give you we're going to do a 100% waiver on the Arden setup, which is normally $300. So we're giving you $300 there. Instead of paying the $10 a piece retail, we'll do a small run of 100. So instead of $1,000, that's going to be $300. So you actually get a small test batch you can use to give out to your inner circle, or if you're just campaigns just getting started, or if you want those to sell or something in an event. If you're ready to just if you kind of get it and you're like, I don't really have time to wait for this stuff, I actually just want to start, I want to start thousands of conversations like today or tomorrow. We'll do 1,000 units, and we'll do that for, normally it's, it's over it's over $2,000. We'll do that for $1,990. Just shoot me an email, we can set that stuff up for you. And if you need a bigger amount, if you want to order, 5 or 10,000 of these and really kind of, deploy some cash in an effective way, highly leveraged way, just shoot me an email and we can do that. So that's the questions. That's the offer that we're kind of making to folks. Got time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions here. So you can email me, anthony@creditcovers.com. We're going to pull a couple more out here. Let's see, question coming in online saying, thank you so much. This is super, super useful. Definitely going to order some credit covers from you guys. Will you be offering other trainings or mastermind groups? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. So, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we can dive into, from messaging to kind of just other tactics and things that folks have been using. I'd love to get folks' feedback if they're sharing what's been working for them, etc. So, yeah, I think keep your eye on your email box. I'm probably going to be doing a book at some point. We have a book underway, so I'll be publishing a book. The working title is Obama's Secret Weapon, about some kind of deeper dive into word of mouth tactics. But yeah, shoot me an email if there's something specifically that your kind of campaign is struggling with, or you're interested in learning more about. We can totally do more hangouts and trainings on those particular things, and kind of take it from there. So I think that we got about another minute here. So if there's any last questions, I'm just going to check to see the inbox here to see kind of what's going on. Oh, okay. Sam asks, can you go over the 3 things that word of mouth? Hold on. Can you go over the 3? Okay, basically, I'm just going to paraphrase, so if you don't mind. Can you basically saying what are the 3 areas that word of mouth is really driving for folks? And okay, so I can totally do that. Let me see here. I just want to make sure we're not missing anybody's questions here. Let's see. Okay, right. Yeah, the 3 basic areas. There's different ways that you can, or we can frame this. But basically, we call it the 3 R's. You're increasing revenue, recruitment, and retention. So the revenue that's coming in is obviously through increased donations. People are giving more frequently, and they're giving more when they do give. So that's revenue or donations. The next piece is recruitment. So that would just be actually winning new voters, right? Winning new individual people into the campaign. So that's like the recruitment aspect, that they're just going to be more likely to bring people, to be brought into the campaign because there's conversations happening and they're hearing there's buzz around it. And then the third piece is referrals. That when you master word of mouth, you're not just getting increased donations and increased people coming into the campaign for the first time, but you're activating the people that are interested in a way so that they're kind of recruiting for you. So they're bringing in referrals. They're volunteering more. They're more engaged. So those are kind of, we call those the 3 R's. So revenue, referrals, and recruitment. You could add a 4th. It's called retention. That kind of goes under there as well. And retention would basically be, are they actively a part of the campaign, and are they turning out to vote? Because of course, all this is for nothing if your folks don't actually show up and vote when the time is right. So I'm going to, let's see, I'll put my email address back up on the screen here. And again, if folks are interested in getting credit covers, for their campaign, please just shoot me an email. We'll be totally ready to help you get those set up. We've got, set up a good deal for anybody that was here for the training. If you have any questions that didn't get answered or we didn't have time to get to your question, shoot me an email, and we might release this as a recording, so you can share this with your team or folks that might be interested in kind of getting some of that training. But with that, again, it's 2 o'clock here in the East Coast, so just want to thank you all so much. Good luck with your campaigns. Feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions about the training or about how we might support you with helping start more conversations, or just anything in general that you have. We're here to support you, and super exciting to be a part of the democratic process. So just remember to hang in there, keep your vision alive, and to spread your message. Thank you so much. Super grateful, and have a great day. Cheers.